Do you attend a lot of networking events? What do you find to talk about when you meet new people? So, seriously, have you run out of content, shall we say? What are some amazing conversation starters for networking events? How many can you think of? How many do you come up with? Do you get new ones at every event, or do you have the same set of conversation starters at every event? Did you ever think about that? How's the weather? How's your favorite sports team? You can do those kind of things, sure. Let's get a little bit deeper from a standpoint of building that all important relationship. Hi, I don't think I've ever seen you here before. Do be careful with that one though, because perhaps they've been 10 times and you never noticed them. So that's always a biggie. But you can always say things like, "Ha, I think we've met before, have we?" And then you can go that route. But the bigger issue is start something that is going to make the person feel welcome and comfortable, especially if you can tell that they are new. So, what is something that no one knows about you? That's always fun, but that's usually in a small group. What was your first car? That one is a blast because that gets all kinds of conversations started. Did you go to high school around here? Have you always lived in Chicago? You can always think of something to say to someone. Just what would you like to have asked of you? Are you a morning or a night person? Is this coffee like too early for you? Oh my gosh. Or if it's an after hours event, I hope it's nap time soon. What does that look like? So I see that person over there with the cape on, and that makes me think of superheroes. What was your favorite superhero when you were younger? Do you have a superhero now? Are you a superhero to someone? You know what? I watched the coolest movie the other day. What would you do if you won the lottery? If someone dumped $10 million on your doorstep right now, what would you do with it? Oh, this ice cream looks amazing. I probably better not because I love it too much. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Especially if it's vacation time, whether it's like spring break coming up, summer, that kind of thing. Do you have any vacations planned for this summer? I can't wait for the seasons to change because as soon as it snows, I'm going here for skiing. I can't wait for the seasons to change because as soon as it warms up, I'm going here for beaching all day long. Do you have a challenge right now in your industry with this economic climate? Are things a little rattled where you are? Oh my gosh, the price of whatever you want to talk about is skyrocketing. I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford whatever it is. Where do you go? Where do you shop? Have you noticed gas prices lately? And depending upon what is happening, that would be a high or a low mark because yay, gas prices fell, or yikes, gas prices didn't fall. There's so many different things you can do when you're thinking of conversation starters for networking. And it still works on a Zoom call. So if primarily your networking opportunities is Zoom, then it still works for that. You want to start a conversation. If your business was an animal, what animal would it be? It's fair. One of my very favorite things to ask, and especially on a Zoom call, because it does give people a chance to think about it if you go around the entire Zoom room. But one of my favorite questions in the whole world is, what would you title your autobiography? What would you title your autobiography? Huh? Pretty fun. And so obviously you don't want to do things like, what year were you born? Probably not a good conversation starter, depending upon what you are there for. Some people have like advantages to aging conversations and different groups in senior care living and all those kind of things. So you wouldn't want to do the year that you were born, but how many times do you have to spin that wheel when you're putting your year in on a social media electronic platform? But how long have you lived in Chicago? What high school did you attend? What was your first car? Those are basic, generic kind of things. And like I say, once you get to know people better, what is something that no one knows about you? And so then you get to do super fun stuff. Like I was the champion of something in my grade school, or I shot 1,000,000 baskets in 10 minutes in my high school something. It's always fun to generate because, quite frankly, you might not remember what everyone in the room does for a living, but you are really going to remember that first car. And all of a sudden they say, oh, it was a Camaro, or it was a Datsun, or it was a Gremlin, or it was a what. You're going to remember that, but you might not actually remember what they do for a living, how they got started in their business. That is a good question you could try as far as how did you get started in that industry? It's very specific. And what is your ideal client? Who would you like to be referred to? And again, this depends on the business climate in the room. You're not going to do that in a social setting or a vendor event because you don't have time to do that. But if you're actually at a networking event, okay, if you're actually at a networking event, you have an opportunity right off the bat to say what got you started in this industry. And that is completely fair. And so think about what a vendor event could do for your networking group. And even if your networking group hosted a vendor fair next week, instead of our luncheon and our format, we're going to have a vendor fair. So go ahead and set up a table and do us something, and we're not going to charge you for that. Super cool opportunity and super cool networking topic, and an opportunity for more networking and asking those all important questions. What do you actually use traditionally and even consistently when you are offering a conversation starter at your networking events? What is your automatic go-to? I love your name badge. Your business card is cool. I saw you drive in. Is that a new car? Cool stuff like that you can say all the time. But please have a few ready to go. Do you have any challenges in your industry at this time? How long have you been with your company? Oh, you started your company. That's exciting. What was the catalyst behind that? Get creative and get to know the people. Do you have any pets? Again, you're going to remember that golden retriever a lot more than you might remember that financial planning business. Conversation starters for networking events. You have any?